Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Pineapple Podcast, where it's all about being tough on the outside and sweet on the inside. Today, I have our amazing guest, Denise. Denise is joining us as she and her family has been pioneering an amazing strategy. They've been building their very own RV resort. Denise, welcome to the Pineapple Podcast. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. So it's myself, Denise Churchill, my husband Woody, and my son Neil and my daughter Crystal who are doing this campground together.
Absolutely.
And we've been doing this for about a year and a half.
Wonderful. Well, Denise, thank you so much for coming on board. I think the strategy of understanding RV resorts and building it basically from the ground up is really a pioneering strategy that a lot of folks are not familiar with, right? And some of the things that in chatting with you as well, that has come to light is that this is an amazing strategy for folks that really want to build into this space. And for you, it's really, you started in this much later in life, let's say. But give us an idea of what is this you and Woody and the family was doing before, and then how did you come into this such an opportunity?
So we did start later in life as investors, and we decided, wherever the opportunity is, it is. Prior to this, we had found many options of creative financing, because when you're later in life, you have to find ways to make money fast because you just don't have the time anymore, right? So we had purchased a fourplex, so an agreement for sale. I had done wholesale and rehabbed a house before, things like that. But when you see an opportunity, it's not necessarily us sitting down one day and saying, I want to have a campground. That wasn't the thing at all. It was just one day, my husband was sitting down, watching the internet and came across this campground. And of course, when the opportunity comes, it comes in many forms. You just do the numbers, you figure things out, and you say, hey, this is a great opportunity and we can't really pass it up at this time.
Love that. Love that. So he's just, you're doing your thing. He finds this opportunity and you just say, let's just check it out.
Yeah, I said, let's just go check it out. Not thinking in a million years we were going to buy a campground. But again, creative strategies. We were able to obtain this campground through using RSP money from other people. And our family is pretty much in there, on the ground working hard right now. But we're at a point where I think we may be moving into from the family owned into hiring more people and making this a bigger project. We kind of got the foundation done at this time.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, look, I think that's a clear demonstration of the law of attraction right there. It's basically, you want to grow, you want to do something. It shows up, you're aware of it, your husband brings it to you, and instead of saying, oh, RV, like where would that ever fall in our strategy, it's like let's check it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So walk us through what's the opportunity. So what's the size of the park, like what's the plan and the ideas you have around it now?
So the land we're on is 160 acres.
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's covered in trees. It's a beautiful property. And at this time, we're developing 50 sites. And what I mean by that is we're going to make each site 50 by 100. We're putting in water, electricity, and septic tanks on each piece of property. And before we bought this campground, we did our homework, of course. We did we got an engineer involved and the county involved. And we found that if we actually got approved to do another 250 sites over and above this 50. So of course, when we found that out, we thought, here we go. We're onto something here. Let's make this happen. So, my kids are operators, heavy equipment operators. So my husband's a mechanic. So we're kind of like that family that gets in there and does the work. And we just had a good fit as a team, as a family to get this started and up and running, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So basically you came into the space understanding the strengths that your family brings in terms of their skill set to develop. But really and truly, you had no prior RV park experience.
No.
That is
And
amazing.
RV parks are not for the weak of heart, let's just say. It's not all sunshine. There's a lot of hard work and a lot of obstacles to overcome, but it's like any investment, right? If you're going to start any kind of a development, you're going to have obstacles. That's just part of the game, right?
100%, an absolutely game changer at the same time, right? Because RV park is actually more geared towards the tourist sector. It's really can become, if done right, quite a lucrative cash flowing strategy. And we know there's a lot of it being done in the US markets. A lot of the big investors, they go after it because it just makes sense from a financial perspective, where the cash output is not as significant compared to a development or building houses. But because of the amount of people that come in the park and they pay their subscriptions or their nightly rates or their glamping, like you can do so much to really make that work. But I appreciate what you're saying. It's a lot of work at the end of the day. So you're working for your money. It's not coming free, but the opportunity to grow, develop, and I'm sure, like, I'd love to know, what was your feelings like when you talked to the city and they said, yep, we're going to allow you to do 250 more pads. Like, that must have been amazing for our experience for you.
That's kind of a funny story, because I had a gentleman working for me. He used to work with the county and now he was retired. And his job was to get development permits for businesses like ours with the county that I happened to need the development permits from. So talk about fate and talk about, where you are in the right place at the right time.
Right.
So this man knew what had to be done. He hired the engineering firms. He did everything right. And as far as I knew, we were all supposed to show up at the council office on a Wednesday morning to, listen to our case and know whether we're approved or not. Well, it turns out it was supposed to be Tuesday morning. So Wednesday, Tuesday evening, I'm getting a call from the guy that I had hired saying, you've got your permits. And here we were gearing up as a family, thinking we were going to show up Wednesday morning, all forces, we're going to get this thing done. And it was already done. So the guy I had hired was obviously the right man for the job.
Yes.
But we did celebrate. No doubt we did celebrate.
I could imagine. Oh my God. So you're preparing to go plead your case and he's saying, here's your permit.
Yeah, that's correct.
This is, yeah, definitely law of attraction at work here, Denise. I mean, there's no other way other than I can explain it that way, because things are just falling in place for you, right? You found a place, you went after it, you got it, and then you have development opportunities as well. So, but like you say, it's not for the faint of heart. And I think one of the things in your earlier message that I really want to get an understanding with you, or your thought process, is you said that age did not limit you. What do you mean by that? Like, you want to explain further your thought process behind this?
So I guess we had many things happen to us. Like we had layoffs in our 50s. We knew what it was like to be living off your RSP money, and we knew how quickly that can disappear when you don't have a plan and when you don't know, the next steps. And of course, as we became involved with Keyspire and got to know our coaches and learned how creative strategies can happen, we realized that we're never too late to start and change things, as long as we have our health and strength and, a strategy that works for us. The one thing we had to keep in mind was we don't have the same time as other people. So we looked at the strategies that would work quicker. Right. When you start at first, you think you know what you're doing and you think this is the path you're going to be on. Like we started with wholesaling, that would be it, and
right.
And then we did the agreement for sales, and we tried ways that we could work with little money and make some cash flow. And then, we ended up falling into this campground. So, you just have to, I think, work with your coaches and take the teaching and the coaching from the people around you. Know that anything's possible. And I know I hear a lot of people say, well, I'm too old to do this, or, I'm too far along. And I'm here to tell you that that's just not true. You have to be able to sit here and enjoy what you can do and take what you have and go with it, right? Find the right strategy that works for you.
Absolutely. I mean, I love the fact that you're sharing this, because again, this is a space where a lot of people hold themselves back. It's like, okay, it's not for me anymore. Maybe when I was 10 years before, 20 years before, but in reality, age is a limitation we put on ourselves. All right. If,
Yes.
I always like to use the example of the US presidents. They're be way past the regular retirement age that we're accustomed with at 65. They're doing the most important job in the world. And they're like in their 70s, maybe their 80s. So the limitations is really what we put on ourselves. And if you forget age, you look at your experience, you look at your resource. The fact that you got to this age means you've learned a lot through the job, through life experiences. And now you're in a position where you can make that decision that, yep, this seems to be a right strategy. This is something I can run with. I love the fact that you're showing it, that your timelines in life, they get shorter as you get older, right? But,
Yes.
nobody else is counting besides us, right? We check the birthdays. Maybe at 50, you stop checking birthdays, and then you just embrace every day with a new experience, and you go after your goals and your dreams, because this is a significant project. I mean, creating 300 RV pads. By the way, congratulations, 50 by 100 is literally the size of a lot. So you're getting a lot size that you're parking an RV on. So how cool is that, right? Lots of space for the kids to run around, for your fires, for your camping, glamping, whatever you want to do. But tell us what was the experience like when you started knocking on doors, or talking to different people to learn about this. Was the learning curve you found was very steep or very long, or you were embracing everything and it sort of came together from the knowledge perspective?
So I feel like we were very lucky in that we found the right people. Sometimes I feel like as investors, we limit ourselves as well with money. We say, I don't have the money to do this, so how can I possibly make this happen? And that's another thing you have to kind of put to the back burner, because you have to find the right people to help you get the job done. And sometimes they're not the cheapest. Sometimes you have to pay up front to get what you need. Like the first thing I did was I knew when I went into this that we had to know whether we could develop more than 50 sites. And again, it was having right people in my corner. The real estate agent that sold this to us, she was a business-minded person. So she put us on to a few people that she knew, which we were very lucky in finding, like the guy that did our aerial structure plan and got our permits for us. And from there, I mean, it was crazy how things fell in place. But it's really, I think, opening yourself up to the possibilities and looking for those right people and attracting those right people in your life. Because I'm telling you, this has been a miracle for us. It's been like our family's hardworking, but we have really good team. Like I have a really good accountant. I have a lawyer that I pay $800 an hour for. Most people would probably say that's ridiculous. But when I set up my limited partnership, I wanted a lawyer that knew what he was doing. I didn't want to pay for the one on the corner that's still trying to learn how this works. I wanted to know that at the end of the day, Securities Commission is not coming knocking on my door or doing anything to, it jeopardize my investors. So
Absolutely.
sometimes the cost is great. When you look at what it costs you to get the help you need, it's overwhelming. But if your project has that there, if you know the project can work, you have your forecast, you figured out what you need, then you have to be brave enough to move forward and find the right people. And that's a lot of work. You're at it every day. And your family, of course, I have the support of my family and my team on the ground. So I've been extremely lucky. It's a learning curve. None of us ever developed or had a campground. The most thing we ever did was camp and enjoy the campfire. We had no idea. I mean, when you start any development, you have no idea what you're involved. You'll never know everything. You just got to try to go in there and learn and do the best you can, find the right people to help you.
That's brilliant sharing. Thank you so much for that, because I think you're hitting on something that's critically important, and a lot of people don't realize this. You got to get the right people around you, but the right people's time and experience is valuable. Don't be afraid to invest in yourself by investing in them or the community, because it pays back 500 folds, right? Imagine not knowing anything about an RV park, and I've seen several of them in the Ontario market as well. It is not something for the faint of heart. You really have to understand what you're doing. And when you're going there as a novice, things can go wrong. But if you have the right people behind you, I think things go absolutely right. And by extension, not necessarily just an RV. People talk about, I want to become the real estate investor. They don't know where to start. You've highlighted Keyspire as one of the places that you started with. And I think it's a brilliant place to really invest in yourself and get educated, because at the same time, because of where you are in life, you're ready to make that investment. So now an investment in yourself translates into profits later on that outweighs the cost that you put out there. And a lot of people, they don't sometimes understand that. But I think finding your right people around you, establishing your tribe, getting involved in a community or people that you're working with, and staying close to them really does bring value, because it elevates your day, it elevates your life. Because again, how do you progress? You find the people that are just 2 steps ahead of you, and you go along with them, because they'll bring you up naturally, right? And so often we hear people saying, okay, well, the family is the tough piece. They don't share, they don't want to talk, because families have your best interests in one respect. When they tell you they don't think it's a good investment, it's because they don't know any better and they're giving you their best advice, which is not the right advice. The fact that you have embraced this journey with your family, I think is absolutely brilliant, because now we talk often about generational wealth. Well, how cool is this that you're going to build this together, and that's going to get passed down and until, somewhere along the generational line, they may sell it. But, you've started a journey that could really go from hand to hand to hand, So to me, it's something special, absolutely something special. Tell me, Denise, about, people coming into sort of embracing the new strategy. When you hit a hurdle or a roadblock, I really want to explore your mindset on that, because when you're doing a new strategy or a new journey, you're going to hit a lot of blocks. It either makes you stronger or it makes you run away, right? So share with us that sort of mindset that you created between you and the family and overcoming hurdles,
So for me, it's meditation for sure.
Nice.
I meditate quite. It's true. I've had to dig deep and find that mindset and that positivity that I can share with my family. And trust me, there are days when I just want to go somewhere and stick my head in the sand and say, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. This is too hard. And then I pick myself up, and, as a family, we're very lucky because we do support one another. I mean, there's times when I am upset and I'm saying, where do we go from here? And my husband will say, I'm in this with you. I've got your back. And our kids are the same, because I've asked them, to a situation. I mean, Mitch, you visited me last summer.
Yeah.
And in the spring here, and you had said, what a beautiful project. And I was saying to you, I know, but it's so much work and I'm so overwhelmed at times.
Yes.
And I said to you, I think I'm going to sell it, because I know there are investors out there that would want to buy this. And your words to me were, are you crazy? Because the opportunity here, and that if we can move forward and work through these hard times, that we'll really reap the benefits. And I mean, in all reality, I have nothing to be concerned about. You know, I'm just moving forward. Yeah, we have, like this year, one of our biggest hurdles was the electricians. We had rain this season, and we dug our ditches and they filled with water. You know, we dug them deeper, and we put the cables, and in those times was like, what? Like I expected my sales to be so much further along this summer because we were going to have our electrical finished, you know, the end of May. But that's
Yeah.
not what happened. We actually
Right.
just got our final inspection last week. But I'm happy to say we have 23 new lots ready to go now. And we're getting ready to move into another RV show. So the light is always there. If you always, you know, look forward and say, like, what do we do now? How can we make this change? What can we do better? And we have our people that are here really excited to be with us and on this journey with us, people that have bought in, our campers. So we have great support there. So we just keep plugging and we keep pushing one another and saying, hey, we can do this. And I guess it's like anything, and any investor gets involved with some projects, you know, it's tough sometimes, but you just move forward and push through and support one another. Call your coach, call your friends. Without my coach, my dear coach, and without you and the Keyspire family, I don't think I'd be where I am today, because there's often I'll make a phone call to someone, say, well, I'm just a little down and out today. And they'll have that conversation with me. So it's not just the family, it's the support we have around us, right? And that's important, that you support yourself with people that want you to succeed, because that's a very hard thing. A lot of the people say you're friends, they don't necessarily want to see your success in the way, you know, your coaches and the people around you from Keyspire want you to do. So
That's right. Yeah, no, absolutely. Beautiful sharing, because you're right. You know, the opportunities, because I was fortunate enough to look at a few of these RV sites in the Ontario market, and I can tell you what they do here. You'll, for every 100 pads, you know, just on a seasonality alone, just to give people an idea, you're charging around $4,000 for the season. For 100 pads, that's $400,000. For 200 pads, that's $800,000 in cash flow. So just on seasonality alone, right? And there are other strategies I know that we can use, but to give people a sense, this is the type of dollars that you can deal with in order to make the RV work. Now, it's not all profit, because there's a lot of money that goes back into the park, right? Like you say, you're running underground cables, that's expensive. But you're putting in infrastructure, that's expensive. But at the end of it, it's going to pay back, because those fixed costs, they get depreciated over time. And so if you do this thing the right way, there is tremendous amounts of opportunities for people who want to spend their time outdoors, loving the space. And then, you know, in wintertime, it closes down and you get your break then, right? And
actually, we don't close, Mitch. We're year restoration.
around.
We're a little different than most of them in Ontario, because we lease short term, or we call it long term, because
Right.
you come in and you stay with us 35 years, you
Right.
pay a lease for your land, and then you get to stay all year. So we live on site, so we keep the roads open. So people
Nice.
can come in and leave their RV the same as you would have your cottage in Northern Ontario. And they just come and go, right?
Yes.
So we get a lot of people ice fishing in the winter, you know, coming to enjoy our trails here. We've got 8 kilometers of walking trails. So a lot of people like to snowshoe or that kind of thing in the winter.
Yeah.
So we don't shut down, although it is much slower. There's not a lot of people want to camp at 30 below, right?
That's right.
But there are some nice winter days.
Beautiful. So then you get to, that's your slow period. So you get to relax a little bit as well and get ready
Yes.
for the new season, right? So
Exactly.
yeah, so this to me is one of the most amazing strategies. And like I say, I've been researching it for some time as well and looking at it. And I know in the US, the big investors, they chase them across North America, especially in the US market, because they are very big in that space. And I don't want to necessarily promote there, but I just want to draw a comparative, right? The fact is, this is strategies that are not for the faint of heart, but it's also a strategy that you can learn. It's a strategy that, you know, that based on community that we can help each other learn and understand, right? And maybe I'd love to chat on that a little bit, because I know you're a big supporter, a big proponent for helping people understand this strategy. And you're always welcoming and having conversations. So, if people wanted to touch base with you, how does that work? What does Denise like to do? Is it an email, a text message? What do you do?
So normally I have people, they can text me, and then I like to do a Zoom call, obviously, with people. I like to meet people in person and get a feel for them and see where they are and if I can possibly do something to help them. I like the fact that people are really interested these days in RV parks. I think we might have started something a year and a half ago, some kind of a
Yes.
movement or something. But the fact is that any investment you do has the same basis. You need same kinds of support. You need people around you. So even if you're not doing an RV park, I'd be happy to talk to someone and share my experiences. And you can do this strategy, like what I'm using for the limited partnership, for instance, for raising funds. You can do this with any development or any project. It's just understanding how that works. And it's a great way to raise funds to help you develop your projects.
Definitely. And like you rightly pointed out earlier on, you need the right accountant, the right lawyers, and then they can discuss those details with you to move ahead with whatever projects you're working on, right? But the beauty is the knowledge is here, and you're a good example of really embracing a strategy with the willingness to learn, right? And then embracing your challenges. And I really want to point that out, because I think that's a crippling effect sometimes for a lot of people. It's like, oh my God, never done that. Not for me. I'm afraid of what might be involved. But if you want to learn, if you want to grow, you have to push your own boundaries. You have to get out of your comfort zone. You need to learn the strategy in order to own the strategy, right? And learning, yes, it does put us out of our comfort zone. But after you've learned it, you become the expert. Then you're sharing. Then you're really bringing people along. So there's no other way to do it other than, if you like it, get with the right people around you and embrace the strategy, because it works brilliantly,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what are some of the exciting things that people can do at the park in where they are with you? Because not only is it an investor's strategy, I mean, you're offering people the opportunity to come have a park for, what is it, 35 years?
Yeah.
So give us an idea of what that looks like in terms of what people can come and do at the park, and they have a dedicated place year after year. How cool is that?
Yeah. So they come in and they come for 35 years. While they're here with us, for instance, a lot of times people say 35 years, that's too long. I don't want to be committed for that long. So the first thing I tell them is we give you win-win situations, because when you come in with us, you may decide in a couple of years that you no longer want to do this.
Right.
So you can go ahead and sell the rest of your lease. And I always say land is going up, it's not going down. So chances are you're going to make more or as much as what you put in just to get out. But if you want to stay in and you say, this year I want to take my RV and I want to travel somewhere, you can rent your property that you're on and take the rent or sublease it. You can take your rent for that year and enjoy the income while you're away. I actually have one investor in here right now out of Quebec who came, one of our first people on board. They bought a piece of property or leased it from us, and they didn't put their RV on for a whole year. So they rented it, and then they came in and they put their RV. They're gone off somewhere now on their motorcycles, and their RV is still here. But this is like their home base for the summer, and they'll travel in the Western Canada area. And then in the winter, they go back to Quebec, and in the summer, they come back out. And like I said, if they don't want to use it, we'll rent it for them, or they can rent it on their own. And of course, in the area, we have walking trails, golf courses. Pigeon Lake is great for ice fishing. So it's a great area. Like if you just wanted to come out in the winter and have a campfire, you can come out and enjoy the day and enjoy the lake and the Pigeon Lake Village. So there's lots going on here, and there's great opportunity for anybody who wants to come in. And we do financing. We also do our own in-house financing. So when people come, we take 20% down and we'll finance them up to 5 years. So we give them opportunities to come in, which is another real way to continue the business and keep the business going, right?
Very nice. That is actually very much a very different approach from the traditional sort of campgrounds, which I absolutely love, because now you're giving them commitment, you're giving them opportunity, and like you phrase it, it's a win-win, right? Because yes, I do agree. The value of properties are not going to go down over time because it's just getting scarcer and scarcer, right? So love the concept, love the idea of how you approach it. And I mean, I guess you'll be developing for quite some time, because you're doing a certain amount of pads every season, correct?
So I expect 3 to 5 years for sure. 300 lots are quite the big event that we're doing here, but we managed to we're close to 50 now, and we've been here 20 months. So, first when you start, you have to learn, you have to find the right people. Now we have our team, like when we're putting a septic tank in now, it's just call up Steve and he's over here to get the tank done, and we can time things now when people come in, because we've had this time to figure things out. Maybe it'll be 3 years, I don't know, but I'm thinking realistically 3 to 5 years, and we should have our 300 lots developed.
Brilliant. That's absolutely a phenomenal story. And again, thank you so much for sharing it at the Pineapple Podcast with us here. I'm sure our viewers will find this invaluable, because again, this is knowledge that you don't just get in a book or you get anywhere, right? It's the owners, the people that are involved, they're in the trenches. They're the ones who can share their experiences. And I think that is what makes us a stronger community, when you come out and you share your story, and then you let other people realize that there is actually a whole world of success and a whole world for us to help each other grow and develop and achieve the freedoms that we wish to achieve in life, no matter what the age, correct?
That's correct. Yes, for sure.
Wonderful. Well, Denise, again, thank you so much. Any sort of last words you want to give our viewers before we say goodbye?
That I'm always here to support them and to support the people around me. I'd be happy to talk to people about RVs and their campgrounds, because I'm excited and I can't stop talking about it. But I just anxious to share and to connect with people.
Well, again, thank you so much, Denise. It's been invaluable, this information you're sharing with us today. And to our viewers, again, remember, hit the like and the subscribe button again, because we're growing our subscription base right here at the Pineapple Podcast on YouTube. So folks, wishing you great successes in your real estate journey. Thanks again. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.